It started like any other date night. A Friday evening at an Italian restaurant downtown. Candlelight flickered between us. Soft music hummed in the background. And all the little things that once meant something to us were there. We hadn't been out in a while. Work had been stressful, and things between us felt distant. So when Lauren suggested dinner, just the two of us, I thought maybe she wanted to reconnect. I was wrong. The moment we walked in, I felt a shift in her. She sat up straighter, tossed her hair, and smiled at the host for just a little too long. And then when our waiter arrived, Jake, early 20s, all charm and easy confidence, she lit up like a switch had been flipped. She laughed at everything he said, complimented his accent, even though he clearly didn't have one, and made sure to touch his arm when he poured her water. I tried to brush it off, but then she ordered her wine with a playful, "Surprise me with something sweet," followed by a wink. Right in front of me. I gave her a look. She just smiled and said, "Relax, it's called being friendly." Friendly. That word echoed in my head for the rest of the night. Every time Jake returned to the table, she leaned in a little closer, laughed a little louder. I could have confronted her, could have made a scene, but instead I let the night play out. I stayed quiet, watching, waiting. And while she giggled over her second glass of wine, I asked for the check. Quietly, discreetly. When Jake came over, I handed him my card and a folded note. He looked confused at first, then smirked, nodded. I watched him walk away, knowing exactly what was about to happen. Lauren, too busy checking her lipstick in her phone screen, didn't even notice. Jake returned with a grin that said everything. He placed the check neatly in front of Lauren, not me. She blinked, confused, then laughed like it was some kind of mix-up. "Oh, I think this is meant for him," she said, gesturing toward me. Jake didn't move. "Actually," he said, voice calm but just loud enough to catch her attention. "He asked me to bring it to you. There's something inside." Her brow furrowed. She slowly opened the little black folder, her fingers pausing when she saw the folded napkin tucked beside the bill. I watched her expression shift in real time, from playful to puzzled to dead quiet. She unfolded it, read the note. Her eyes flicked up to me, and for the first time all night, she had nothing to say. My message was short, simple. "Since you've been entertaining him all evening, I figured he deserved to see who's really paying for the night." She went pale. Jake, still standing there, glanced between us and suddenly looked a lot less amused. Maybe he thought she was just a flirty diner. Maybe he didn't realize she was sitting across from her husband of 4 years. I gave him a polite nod. "Thanks for your service tonight." "Really?" He forced an awkward smile and stepped away without another word. The silence at the table stretched so wide I could feel it pressing against my chest. Lauren tried to recover. "Seriously? You're going to pull a stunt like that over a little harmless flirting?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "You weren't flirting," I said. "You were testing limits. You've been testing them for weeks." This just confirmed everything I already knew. She rolled her eyes, defensive. "It was nothing. I was just having fun." "You've been so distant lately," I thought. Cut her off. "No, you don't get to spin this. Not tonight." She pushed the bill toward me. "I'm not paying for this." Pushed it right back. "You can afford it. You're the one who spent the entire dinner acting like I wasn't here." I stood up calmly, pulled on my jacket, and placed a second note on the table before walking away. She didn't even reach for it at first, just sat there, staring at the check like it might explode. And in a way it already had. The illusion was gone. The game was over. I let her play it cute and coy all night. Now, she had to sit with the reality of how it felt when the performance ended. Walking out into the cold night air, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Clarity. Not satisfaction. Not revenge. Just a sharp, clean break from the fog I'd been living in. I wasn't mad because she flirted with the waiter. I was done because this wasn't new. It was just the first time it had been so obvious, so careless, so public. Lauren had been slipping away for months. It started with distance. The way she scrolled through her phone during our conversations, how she dressed up more for solo outings than for our dates, How she came home from girl nights, with too much perfume and none of the energy we used to share. I kept excusing it, told myself she was just stressed, that she'd come back around, that if I stayed patient, gave her space, she'd remember what we had. But watching her lean across the table, giggling at Jake like she didn't know I existed, made it crystal clear. She wasn't trying to fix anything. She was trying to escape it. I didn't go home right away. I walked for over an hour through streets I barely noticed, just putting one foot in front of the other, letting my thoughts unravel. When I finally made it back to our apartment, it was quiet. I half expected her to be there, waiting, angry, ready to argue. But she wasn't. Her things were still there. Shoes by the door, coat on the rack, but she wasn't. And neither was the version of our life I'd been holding on to. I poured a glass of water, my hands shaking slightly. Not from nerves but from relief. The second note I'd left on the table wasn't dramatic. Just a single sentence written on the back of the receipt. "You've been dining on my patience for too long." I knew it would sit with her, burn slowly. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how long I'd been sleeping next to someone who had already emotionally checked out. And more importantly, why I kept trying to bring her back when she'd already walked away. She didn't come home that night. I didn't expect her to. I had spent so long waiting for her to show up, to the relationship, to me, that I forgot what it felt like to choose myself. But that night in the silence I remembered. And in remembering I let go.